Boom, there is the red light. All right, everyone, let
Right,
me
right.
go get these announcements out the way, and then we're going to get this thing popping on going on. So as normal, as usual, I like start off, say thank you to all my subscribers and followers. I appreciate your support. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the link is in the description. Or look for Wizzo Talk 8972 is floating across the bottom of the screen on YouTube. Just make sure you hit that notification bell because I post according to my guest availability and I'm not on a fixed schedule. So you subscribe, you hit that notification bell. We don't want you to miss out on anything. And remember that it is a 100% free, absolutely free to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate your support. If you want to like to be a guest on Wizzo Talk, hey, I'm always looking for guests. So send me a message, send me a carrier pigeon, send me a smoke signal, or whatever you got to do. We'll get you on. And don't worry about a topic, because I have plenty. You can also find Wizzo Talk on Spotify. So if you just want to tap in and drive and listen to a little on Spotify, you can find it on Spotify. I included my merch link in the description. So if you'd like to check out some of that Wizzo Talk merch, check it on out. And the last thing, tune in on the 25th of this month. The topic will be Trump and the rise of the MAGA movement. Those are your announcements. Take due notice thereof and govern yourselves accordingly. We're going to meet our guests. Come on, Ms. Shima.
Hello, hello. What's up? Govern yourself accordingly. I like that.
Already. Well, come on with your intro. We'll let the world know who you are.
Well, I'm Shima Ladd, a personal development premarital life coach, also a nurse that specializes in psych and mental health. And I am glad and thank you for inviting me here to have this conversation today on what we can do to help out children of color. Though I have to say, I know we have to say children of color, but it's like they lumped everybody in together and only left one race out.
Yeah, yeah.
But we gonna talk about how to help the children of color.
Already. All right. And before I meet my other guest, you have a book out or something too, don't you?
I do. What future me told past me, which is geared towards children or even adults that came out of backgrounds of domestic violence, abuse, neglect, exploitation. It's also a workbook, helps you work out through your emotions, your mind, help you get to a good place where you can move forward and have a productive life.
Okay. And they find that book where? How can they find that book?
It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, BAM. You can go to my website, futuremepro.com, and there you'll find the book as well as some music and merch, other things that are all based around identity, understanding your purpose, your calling, your
Okay.
gifts, and how to make those work for you.
All right. That's what's up. And I have your book in my Amazon cart. As soon as I
Okay.
finish reading the book that I'm on right now, then I will be purchasing in that book, and I'm gonna send you a picture of me holding it to let you know that I did purchase it. Because I'm an
All
old
right
school
now.
word is bond already. All right, well, thank you for that intro. We're gonna come up to 7 points of bliss. Seven, hit them up.
Yo, more bliss, more life. It's your boy 7 Points of Bliss, aka the Pomegranate Samurai, man. Hey man, y'all gotta check me out on Spotify under Cosmic Currency 777. You check Wizzo Talk out on Spotify as well. Listen to us while y'all ride. You know what I'm saying? You can Google After Real Truth, all one word, man. Check out some of my art. I got some clothes, you know what I'm saying? Grab you some gear, man. I got blankets, skateboards, all type of stuff, man. And it's an honor to be here yet again.
Already, yeah, y'all check him out. He got that fire grip, got that fire merch over there. So I didn't check them on out. All right, well, let me come on down to my brother from another mother there. OB, what you got, man?
Hey, how everybody doing? This is the All American that everybody love, Ari Baker. Remember that name for 2028 presidential, but I won't get into that right now. I want to let y'all know that I'm always happy to be on Wizzo Talk, even though our topic is about taking care of the kids. Wizzo Talk is taking care of the kids in the community by opening up this dialogue for us to talk openly, even when we don't agree. So I want to stress, anytime you see Wizzo Talk on there, go ahead and jump on there because you're going to laugh, but you're going to learn. And I just want to give a shout out to the other guests out here. Make sure you buy their merch. My man Seven, we family members from way back Southside Chicago. Miss Queen, I just met you, but I'm gonna get that damn book. I was just writing down how to get it, but I'm getting that damn book, and I'm gonna
All
read it
right
and I'm gonna
now.
tell people about it. So, if you can, I know we have a problem with the chat and stuff. Put that link down there so I could be like Wizzo and have it up in my Amazon basket because I'm a man of my word. If we're gonna do this, we got to do it right from the bottom. We can't be waiting for $1,000 grant or $1 million grant to do it. Hey, you see people putting stuff up, let's get that merch, let's share, let's talk. That's how we're gonna
That's
build.
right.
Guess what? That's how we did it way back then.
Yeah.
That's
That's
how we got
right.
all our stuff by supporting each other. So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, even if I gotta do it alone. But I know I don't have to do it alone because everybody else doing it too. So let's make it do what it do, like Wizzo say.
Already, most definitely. And Seven, Arby, and I mean, we've all then purchased merch from one another and stuff like that. And Arby, he has a podcast and stuff like that also, and he also working on the Survivor Memorial. Got a movie coming up that he's working on that he didn't say anything about, but he's a busy man, and he's definitely he's out there. He man, word is bond type guy also. So we
Well,
appreciate
if
Appreciate
it.
you
it,
need
brother.
any actresses or models, you can reach out here
Y'all heard it. Y'all
for your
heard it.
movie.
Look, when she be running from me, y'all tell her, you told him that. You told him that on Wizzo
Hey,
Talk,
I
so she
act
ain't gonna
too. I'm an
stop.
actress too. I just ain't say all that
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Hey, look, that's why we got Wizzo Talk, so we can have more episodes. I
exactly,
hear you,
exactly.
Queen.
Yeah.
I do. Right.
Already,
I'm gonna
already.
write a
So,
script right now.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So with that being said, before I get off into one of my first talking points, and then guys already know we'll work the room and see what everyone else has. Uh, I went to a troubled. It's not called a troubled school where they send the kids for when they. God, no, I just had the name of it. When they get in trouble at the high school, they send them over to this alternative
OC.
school.
Yeah.
Right.
They used to call it OC.
Right, right. So they sent him over there, and so I met with a guy over there, and he was supposed to be giving me some questions from the kids, but he didn't email me any of that stuff yet. So I only have a little bit to cover. Then we'll see what you guys have to cover. And so, like the old Baptist preachers say, when they be lying, I ain't gonna be long, but that's a lie.
Well,
Well, we're gonna
I
blaze it
won't
off.
belong.
So, but before I get off into my first talking point, I want to just cover this. So I follow this black gun organization group online, and they were teaching kids 8, 9, 10, 7 years old, and all that stuff about firearm safety, how to load it, how to shoot it, how to check the mag, how to clear it. They was teaching them all of this stuff right here going on, and these are young kids. I'm talking about like 10 and below or whatever. But the comments is what I just want to comment on. The comments was negative, and they was about, oh, you teaching them to grow up to be gangsters, you teaching them to grow up to be thugs, you teaching them to grow up to be this. But then y'all know how Facebook and all that stuff and YouTube and all that stuff is listening. So then after I hit like on that one, I went to, it just came across my feed, and it's this white guy teaching this kid how to draw, how to check, how to clear, how to do what everything. Guess what? The comments was all positive because it was this white kid. But when this black kid, or when they over here teaching them about it, then it's all wrong. So I just want to just get y'all a little bit of feedback, see what y'all think about that, or any little input. It seems like whenever we do something, it's wrong, but whenever they do it, it's okay. It's for the better. They need to learn that. So anybody got any comments on that before we go into this?
now you know I got something to say about it, but I'm gonna
Come
be
on.
nice and let everybody else speak first, because this is my bread basket. Was that the NAGA group that you was following? Do you remember?
I would have to look and see because I can't remember. I just know I have it. I think I may have sent it to you on Messenger one time, that group, or sent it to someone. I can't remember.
Okay.
But
But yeah, I'll let everybody else speak on it. And
anybody got anything on that?
I mean, well, I ain't gonna lie. I taught my kids too.
Yeah.
I did. And did you? It was just last week. A feed came across my YouTube. The police officer accusing this lady of stealing a TV out of Walmart, and
Mm-hmm.
her young daughter just happened. She taught her daughter how to use a gun. Well, the daughter saw the cop had her mama down, a heavyweight black woman,
Mm.
had her down, and her mom was struggling. And the daughter got out, shot the police right in her eye and killed her. And the mother got up. She went to wake her mom up, get her mom up. But the police officer that did that to her mother had numerous complaints. But that little girl, I think she was only like 7 years old, killed the police officer protecting her mother.
What? Look at Seven. Don't Seven. Like Seven has talked about that before. Yeah. I heard that, and that was. Do you remember where that was at?
I don't. I just saw that maybe 4 days ago.
Man.
The incident I want to say was in Michigan or Chicago.
Yeah. Man.
Oh, I know there was one in Chicago, but it was the son that shot the guy. It wasn't a cop, but it was a guy beating up on the mom, and the son came up in there and put a couple of hot ones in him right there on the spot.
On site. I'm not approving that behavior, but on site.
Yeah.
You know, I think it is a big divide between, races, white and black, but and then too with everything with how kids in school are pulling out guns, shooting parents, accidentally shooting their friends. I mean, it would be wise to teach them. If the parents are not teaching them and just leaving the guns laying around, somebody should teach them.
Right, most definitely. All right, Seven. I saw you smiling, Seven. What you got?
Well, I mean, y'all already know how I feel, man. We gotta kill our enemies, but I mean, I think that's a beautiful story though, because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it was either her mother life or that police officer life. And then we really got to start looking at ourselves as a higher priority. And we need to start teaching our children that these things are not weapons, but they are tools to protect our communities. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody want to talk about gangsters and drug dealers and all that, but the truth is, if there were more people in the community that knew how to use guns that were so-called regular people, we wouldn't even have all that shit in our community. Back in the days, right, the older people would have shotguns and shit, and they'd run motherfuckers off. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't going to be in my community doing that shit. And everybody had guns. You know what I'm saying? But now it's to a point where we have this stigma in our community where we really start to think that these guns are negative, and we lose sight of the fact that it's not guns that are negative, but they are negative people with guns, right? So we really need to start teaching our kids. I would even say start teaching them early. I think you said that that company or whatever organization, they were teaching the kids at like 8. Shit, before, hey, I'm telling you, man, at 3, I have a bow and arrow in their hand. You need to teach them how to use all tools. We may not necessarily have to start off with a gun, but you can start them off with a slingshot, a bow and arrow, a hatchet. Teach them all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? Anything can be a weapon that can protect yourself from any type of situation. Right. You may not have a gun, but if you got a slingshot in your pocket, it's just like a gun if somebody trying to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And you know how to use it. Right. And I think that we really need to start looking at these things as tools in our community, because it's not just the white people that are our enemies. It's some of our own people. You know what I'm saying? And that's how dangerous it is, because it's like camouflage. You won't even know. Like you said, that child had to kill a grown man from being on his mama. That man was probably a black man on that boy mama. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, we really got to start looking at these types of things and understanding how to protect our communities. We shouldn't be in any stores, Walmart, Target, any of that shit without somebody having a gun. You know what I'm saying? At least 2 out of the 10 black people in the store should have a gun, because they run up in stores and shooting the stores up. And then they worried about black kids with guns in school, when none of the black kids are doing any of the school shooting. Yeah. It's more fucking Mexican kids and white kids doing all this shooting up shit. So I don't even know why they so heavy on the black community. It's just that they don't want us to be able to even be in the mindset to protect ourselves, pretty much. Because I
was going to say that before Ari go on and say something on it. Yeah, it just seemed like whenever, black people or people of color is trying to teach their kids about weapons or whatever, it's all bad, it's all negative, the comments were. But yet when the white kid over here, when the white parents were showing him, it was all good and positive and all that. And like we've already noticed that most of them are the ones that's doing all of the school shootings and everything like that. But I'm gonna let Arvi go ahead, and then we're gonna get on off into our topics and stuff. Go ahead, Arvi.
Well, everybody kind of touched on what I was going to say. The thing is, we need that education. I mean, we're going to get into how to empower our kids of color. Education is that, and weapons, you need to be educated on it. When we talk about the gang violence in Chicago and other places, the problem is not them having guns. It's about them being stupid with guns. They don't know how to aim it. They don't really know that what you have is something that can take a life. And they're playing with toys. It's not a toy. It is the definite tool to protect your family and in some cases help feed your family. So I think our kids should be educated early. I want to look up that group because I think it's the NAGA group.
I was
That's
just trying to
teaching.
find it too, but it's not coming up. But it'll come up now that I mention it, but I can't
Yeah.
find it.
But education is mad important. If we teach them young, you won't hear about these accidental shootings of parents and kids because they already been taught what the weapon is, what it's not, how to use it, and when to use it. Now, when it comes to like the neighborhoods, again, it needs to be tightened up. But one of the reasons why you don't see Aryan Nation or MAGA running onto the south side of Chicago is because there is a definite fear of getting that ass shot up. I mean,
They already
let's be
know.
clear with it. They gonna go places where they might have a chance to talk that, but they not coming on Cicero. They not coming on 79th St. Lawrence. They damn sure ain't coming on Cottage Grove. Why? Because they know what's going to happen. And if we want to make communities safer, again, I'm not condoning going out there and killing anybody, but I am condoning if somebody come in my neighborhood with me and mine, we're going to be there to tell the story, not you. So don't do it. And getting trained in weapons makes everybody safe. Again, this thought about trying to get rid of weapons only works for people that obey the law. You get rid of weapons, everybody that obeys the law is going to become instant targets because they know they can be got. But if you train everybody on how to use the weapon, how to hold it and do it, the people that want to think about getting froggy, they're going to calm their ass down because the same energy they're going to bring, we're going to bring it back to them.
Yeah, we're definitely coming strapped. Over that Black Gun Owners Association, that's the one that the black kid was on. I can't remember the one where the white kid was doing. I think his dad was just showing him in the video came across, but it was the Black Gun Owner Association where they was teaching women, kids, all of that about gun safety and how to shoot and how to fire.
And
So
we got a lot of groups out there. And again, I'm not going to sit here and try to say, well, the white kids shouldn't be learning how to shoot the weapon because if you look at American history, weapons is part of our history. And I think if you are American and all American like me, you need to know the ins and outs of a weapon, at least a pistol. And just like Seven said, I think you should start with the basics: bow and arrow, slingshot, get accurate, get good with it, because we got some people in here that step over boundaries and stuff. Now, I also want to invite our guests to look online for some of those groups because there's more than one group out there. There's a big group in Atlanta. But the thing that I like the most is that they're teaching kids and young adults how to use these weapons. Because if you don't know how to use a weapon, I don't care how much money you got an AR, you're going to get killed by somebody that knows how to use it. But when you know how to effectively use it and people know that you're trained to use it, they're not going to try to mess with you that much, if at all.
all righty. With that being said, we're gonna go on off into this little talking point that I have right here. How
Let's
can
get
we
it.
empower kids of color for a successful future? And I'm gonna come to you, Shima, after this right here. But I'm trying to see where do we start because nowadays it's not like back in the day when you can where if we see a kid we can talk to that kid because the parents are so irate and so don't talk to my kid and don't say this and don't say that. When I went over to this OC school and talked with this guy over here about these troubled kids, he was telling me, he said, man, Wizzo, the parents don't want the kids to go off anywhere. They don't want them to do anything. They want them to stick around here and get in trouble. And I mentioned that because Arby has mentioned before saying, if the kid don't know where to go or don't know this or don't know what to do, go to the military and do that, to try to get away. So I'm asking you, where do we start with trying to get these kids empower them to let them know the options that they have. And it's a lot more options out there for them today. And before anyone say anything on that, Arvie has mentioned before, that we have to keep having these types of conversations. So this conversation just came up. A lot of my topics do. They come to me like a thief in the night. I write them down and then we discuss them and stuff like that. And the more we keep having these conversations, the more maybe some change can come about. But I just want to know, where do we start? So, Ms. Sheila, what you got on this?
We start with the adults.
Yeah.
Okay. It starts with the adults. It's all kind of adults and we messing it up. A lot of us messing it up for the kids. And I just had a conversation about this a couple of days ago. But it starts with people like us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Kids, they always from birth, they always trying to figure out who to trust. Who can I trust? Who can I talk to? Who can I trust? You know what I'm saying? And so whether it's, whether you want to focus on how to get them into a good career, how to get them some good education, you can think about all of that stuff. But until you come to that home with that child, because like you said at OC, it seemed like the parents just want to let them there, leave them there and don't want to do nothing. Well, that's the parents, but something going on up here with these kids. And they not telling everybody. They not saying they looking for a sign that there's someone around that might listen to me, that might be cool, that might keep my secret or whatever it is they going through. So just making yourself approachable, because they may not even know you, but they watching you from afar. Is there any, because even with me, like you read it in my book, growing up in domestic violence, you know what I'm saying? Going to school, I'm supposed to get good grades and all of this stuff. But at the same time, I got teachers at school. One teacher looking me up and down, my clothes, want to see if they match today. That's all she wants to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I got another teacher over here. You know what I'm saying? So when the kids are looking around, and they're looking at the adults around them, who can I trust?
Right.
And if I do tell you my secret, do you have it within you to actually make something happen and help me? Or am I gonna tell you for nothing and you're gonna drop me? So it really boils down to trust. Us being open, approachable, building some sort of trust around the community of kids that you work with, because if they can come to you and open up and have a little valve to start talking, then you have a better chance of influencing them to go to college, to go a different direction, because they have something to get this off of their chest. And somebody actually knows the truth, and somebody actually knows the answer and is going to tell me the right thing to do. Because a lot of times kids walk around not feeling loved. They don't feel loved. They don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. They feel overlooked. And they in competitive environments with their peers trying to compete. Not knowing their peers, the house more messed up than mine.
Yeah. I can definitely feel you on that. Let me get Arvie back in here before we let
Man, I done missed all the good stuff.
we're gonna let Creed go right here and say something. But before Creed does, I'm gonna just go on and say, Shima, when over at this school that I was talking about, they had just received this one girl in the day. Everything was calm and pleasant for about the last, month. And the guy told me as soon as this one girl came over to this campus that day, a big old fight broke out. They had to call the cops and all that stuff like that. So maybe she had some of that going on or whatever, some issues or, love who to talk to or do whatever, because soon as she come over there, it was a big old fight that broke out. But
definitely. And going to talk to a school counselor, especially, and I ain't trying to be racist, but it's some white lady there. If you're a person of color, they don't understand their lifestyle. They probably ain't never even been in a fight. Let me slap you now so you can get that's your first opening. No, but you go to the school counselors. What you gonna tell the school counselor? Who gonna you know what I'm saying? So again, you never know what child is gravitating towards you or what they see in you that, oh, they remind me of me a little bit. Let me
Right.
go try.
Right. Okay. Let me come over here to Miss Cree, but Shima, Harvey wants you to post your book, so if you can share it in the chat, the name of it, so I can let him know what the name of that was. But come on,
Okay.
Miss Boom, come on with your intro, or you can just get right on into the topic. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you.
Well, first I'd like to apologize for being tardy. Cree 2-1 boom. I actually thought it was at 8 o'clock, but if I'd have paid attention to earlier, I would have seen it was 6 o'clock. So my apologies again. I was doing some hair to make
Okay.
some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
Amen.
that money.
Right. So, child, and I was eating too. So I try not to eat while we're doing the podcast. So, like my throat a little itchy and everything. So
That's
what I'm
all
gonna
right.
do is I'm just gonna keep my statement until a little later because my throat is doing something weird.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone. So, Ar- Harvey,
And now with you, friend.
Yeah, I
Harvey,
know you was
come
gonna
on,
say
what you got over there?
Okay, from what I heard from Shima, and thanks a lot for that post. You're absolutely right. The parents got to be taught first, but the parents and the kids, I believe, need to have DEI training. And when I say DEI, I'm not talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm talking about discipline, education, and income awareness. Because when we talk about this, if you look at the kids, and you know me, I'm somebody that's gonna watch the news, but I'm gonna go talk to the streets to see what's happening. And a lot of the stuff that's going on out there is that the kids have no discipline. And I'm not saying kids need to get beat like we were back in the day, but they need to have a sense of discipline being a good thing and not a bad thing. That's the first part of building the community back with these kids in mind. The second thing is education. I don't know why. I got a clue, but I don't know why the majority of our kids in the affected neighborhoods think education is bad. They think being smart is dumb. To learn about science is dumb. And that's the shit that holds them back, blocking their blessings, if you will. And then when it comes to the income, man, now we're hitting close to home. I have family members, they get a chunk of money, and the first thing they want to do is go shine for everybody. They want to go to the club, pop bottles, and literally throw money on the ground for other people to pick up instead of saying, you know what, man, that little quarter acre right there, I can afford that. Let me get that and I have ownership of it. And then I can do something with it and then make some more money off of it. But we got to teach them that early, and we got to show them how it works. So, I've been talking about my family history and how my great grandmother's property is something that nobody gets to touch. And it's not because, I'm being big just being hard on them. I'm trying to show them this is how legacy is built. This property came in our family back in 1898. There's not too many people that can say they have a connection to property, especially in our family. So what I'm doing is showing them and telling them that this is how we build generational wealth. Get you some property, hold on to it, and pass it down. Make sure it stays in the family, because if you do this, now you have some stability. Now we're talking about what the American dream is. You got some stability, so when times get hard, you can refinance that property, or everybody can come stay on that property. But in the end, you always have that. When I go to Chicago, the thing that kills me the most is that we got a lot of kids and a lot of young families out there. They're not grounded. They've been staying in rental apartments from the time that their mama was alive. And they have a memory of Big Mama's house or Grandma's house, but it was sold.
Right.
It was sold not to capitalize on it, but that was some quick money. And the kids have to be reprogrammed to not try to get the quick money. They got to get that long money. So again, all that comes right back to having that discipline, having that education, and really being taught how to handle that income.
All right, that's what's up.
Go ahead, Paul.
I was fixing to go to 7, but go ahead.
And I'm just want to backdoor on that because I hear what he's saying, and my thing is always identity. So they want to go out and buy the new shoes, buy the this, buy the that, buy the that. And when you're talking about kids, you're talking about people amongst their peers who have not solidified their identity and who they are. And then when you have, and I just talked about this the other day, having a broken home, if you come from a home that went through a divorce, well, that identity is broken now because mom over here and daddy over here, and they ain't saying we no more.
Yeah.
So who we was ain't we no more. You know what I'm saying? So you look into your peers and you're going to ride with your peers because your identity isn't solidified. And even when it comes to, and I hear what you're saying, they do want fast money. And I see a lot of kids now, they getting into day trading. They getting more into the marketplace, doing things like that to make that fast money, which is risky. Real estate would be a more solidified, stable way to go. But with that identity, when you learn your identity and finding out what your gifts are, what your skills are, what your talents are. Because in the color of community, like I said, my family, don't tell what we say last time, Paul, don't tell your family, because they going to tell you why you can't, why you ain't, why it don't, why it's for them family and them people, not you, why it's this. And you looking at your peers trying to figure out who got the answer. Where can I fit in where I can grow and be who I am authentically to myself? And you can't have an identity until you can be authentic with yourself. So that's a whole process, but that's where you open those doors to, you understand your talents and your skills. Where should you be working? What field should you really be in? It's one thing to go get a job at the mall or somewhere at a restaurant and you make your money, but is that lining up with your calling, your identity, your talent, your skills? What's in you naturally that ain't never going nowhere? Does that line up? Because that's where you're gonna start finding that money flow, being authentic to yourself, and then you go into assets and building all of that stuff.
Right. All right, that's what's up. Let me come to 7, and then I'm gonna go on and piggyback on that 7. What you got?
Honestly, man, a lot of people can't learn anything from their parents because their parents can't even identify with their children. For the simple fact that a lot of people have forgotten what it's even like to be a child. And that's sad because we are still children, even though we may have facial hair and we may have big boobs or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? We may have children. We're still children. We're still those same children that went to school on the first day of preschool and was scared. And we're still that same person. When we start to identify ourselves as mature people, I think a lot of people have a misnomer of what maturity even is. We don't know ourselves because we are taught not to know ourselves through everything in life, in our communities, in our schools, in our books. Everything is against us, right? And unless you have a very strong mind to hold on to specific things to truly see yourself evolve mentally and spiritually, your children are going to be worse off. Like, we think that we struggle, right, to make our children's lives easier. That makes them worse people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to allow our children to struggle to see and learn. Yes, we're supposed to be there with them through that, but we have to allow them to build character, but we also have to not lose ourselves, right? A lot of people don't know how to do that, right? A lot of people see their children and they try to be harder on them than life was on them particularly. You know what I'm saying? We do different things to our children to make them evolve in a certain kind of way. And it really just makes them get lost, bro, because we don't explain anything. Like, for instance, right? You see the Mexican culture, when they have businesses like landscaping and stuff like that, they have their children out there, right, teaching them from the ground up. They'll show them, right? And any other culture is like that, except for a lot of the Black culture, right? We'll be like, no, he got to learn on his own. Like, why, bro? You know what I'm saying? Why are we not giving them the information that we already have struggled to maintain?
That's huge. That's huge.
They can therefore go for and learn lessons that we haven't yet. You know what I'm saying? We're not giving them the shortcuts. You know what I mean? And every other culture, they're giving their children these shortcuts, and we're teaching them the wrong thing. Like, we're teaching them that money is the most important thing, and we're teaching them backwards. Money isn't important, right? Money is a tool, like a gun. We need to be teaching them what you want is what you're trying to get with the money. That's the important stuff. Then sometimes there's ways around that type of stuff. You don't always need money to do things, but if we keep money as the foreground, our children are always going to lose themselves because they're going to be trying to see what can we do for this dollar, right? We're not teaching them correctly. My daughter came to me and told me, she asked me for advice, asking me what should she do for her first job. And I told her, I think you should really start a YouTube page or something like that, because honestly, it's kids younger than you buying houses off that shit, talking about the things that they love. And she tells me, well, other people are already doing that. And I'm like, well, other people aren't you. Other people are not going to talk like how you're going to talk. They're not going to think how you're going to think. You know what I'm saying? We really have to get our children in that mindset to share themselves with the world, right? And be themselves authentically, right? We have to first teach them even who they could possibly be. We leave it to the school system to teach our children who they are, not realizing that the school is going to teach them a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the history, the first thing I learned about our people was we started off as slaves. They didn't even tell us our people was from, like, didn't know, like, shit like Egypt and that shit, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, man, if you starting to child off with that, and that's who they think they coming from, what the fuck do you think they're gonna be thinking about themselves, right? You already starting them off on a lower thought process, thinking that that's all they can do. Then we teach our children that to sports, right, or any type of entertainment shit, trying to entertain the white man for money, shucking and jiving, doing the bullshit, right? And then they think that's all they can do is throw a football or play basketball or some bullshit like that, right? They're not even knowing who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could do that, but it's something even greater than that you could be doing. So we really need to teach them how to be themselves. But first, we need to find out who we are, because you can't teach a person who they are if you don't even know who you are. Your identity is not going to come from another relationship. I know a lot of people out there struggling in marriages, right? That's not working. They're being abused mentally, physically. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to stay in it. And they kids see this shit. What are you going to get your child from that, though?
They need to get my book.
Right. Sometimes you gotta step out of that shit. It's like, I'm telling people, like, you want your kids to see you struggling and some shit that ain't working, when you could be showing them what love truly looks like. You know what I mean? And so it's like, man, we really got to stop poisoning ourselves if we really want our children to go anywhere, truthfully.
Got you on that. Anybody got anything on that piggyback on before I say something? Nope.
Come on with it.
Well, I'm gonna say this, a couple of things. First, the YouTube channel. I mean, I totally agree, because what she's gonna share and what she's gonna post is totally different from what someone else is doing. When I started my podcast, I went to one other place to launch it before I started streaming, and one of the ladies there, she had a podcast at their studio, and she said, Wizzo, I mean, we all talking about doing something different. So I mean, there's plenty enough out here for all of us to eat. So I most definitely agree with the fact that she should start something like that, because the social media platform is making people millionaires out there. You know, it's totally making millionaires. So, but I'm gonna say this right here. I don't trust you. I mean, why should I trust you? Why should I be open to you? I mean, who are you? I mean, I ain't got nothing mature. What are you talking about, mature? Yeah, I'm mature. I don't trust you. I trust my dog over here, who I'm riding with. He riding with me. What gives me the right to trust you? You talking about buying some land? And I don't buy no land. I'm gonna rock these Jordans right here. I'm gonna be fly, and I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna get this quick money. I'm not trying to do none of that long-term stuff like that. I want my money. I want it right now. So right now, what you trying to tell me, OG, you ain't telling me nothing. What do we say to that kid?
Well, I want to touch on this because everything you said was stuff that I heard growing up. And sometimes, you know, we got some kids that they've learned the wrong way in the streets, and they're going to rock with it. But there are some kids that's in the street that'll look at that same situation and they'd be like, you know what? Mr. Baker old ass always got money. You know, sometimes it's not about you telling them stuff. It's showing them. Man, Mr. Baker came over here and Miss Louise was having a problem. He went over there and just squared that way. Man, let me go talk to this OG, see what he's doing. And basically what I'm doing, is the same thing that the mature gangbangers back in my day, I'm talking about the gangsters from the 70s did. They didn't go out there and say, hey, I want you to be hard, I want you to be tough. They actually had a mindset. Not everything was positive, but they had a mindset to get influence, to be able to influence these kids. You got to have them gravitate to something that you're doing that they like. You just can't pop up and be like, hey, I got this information, I went to school, and I'm going to teach you something. That'd be the quickest way to turn them off. But when you go up and say, hey, man, I think you can do better with your life, and then you just show them what you're doing, you leave it up to them. And here's the thing that I've learned about kids. I don't have a PhD and all that stuff, but I'm the oldest of 8, and I got a whole bunch of nephews and nieces. When I come around, they know not to clown. Because I'm gonna bring it serious to them, but I'm gonna bring them with some knowledge to help them. I'm not here to talk down to you. I know how it feels as a kid looking up to somebody that's only got negative stuff to say to me. I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna ask them what they want. Now, the thing that Miss Queen hit on is something that I think is the pivotal thing to help change the mindset of these kids to want to listen to us. That is adults listening to the kids. Some of these kids are bad out there because that's how they have to survive in the street. But you'll be surprised at what they really want to do and what they really want to learn if we would just close this and allow them to talk and let's soak in what they got. The thing about the YouTube, again, I think it's excellent. But this is a way we can bounce off of, because the kid might come to you and have some ideas, and instead of saying, well, everybody else doing that, you need to go be a doctor, ask them, hey, so if you were to have a YouTube page, what would you have on there? What would separate you from that? And when they start talking, don't just listen, start fucking writing. Because now when you start putting paper to pen, they're gonna look at you and be like, this person's taking me serious. Yeah. And they're gonna get serious. And I've seen it happen, even with like some of the young kids I talked about to go to the military. When I show up, the first thing they say, oh, you ain't talking me into going to the military. I don't need to talk to you going to the military. But I'm gonna tell you what the military did for me. And when I start writing down the stuff that I did, and they start talking like, you know what, I want to get a new car. You think I could get a new car in the Army? Well, maybe you can. What kind of car you want? How much money you think you're gonna spend with it? Where you want to go from there? And while they're talking, I'm writing. When we have these conversations, we got to have two-way conversations. We really want these kids to take us serious and listen to what we have to say. Because we can't go out there and try to dictate. Because I'm going to tell you, I'll be 55 in April. And I can still remember old people trying to tell me how to be right and be like, man, get your old ass out of here. I wouldn't say it out loud because I didn't want to get the taste slapped out my mouth. But I was thinking, get your old ass out of here. I'm not listening to that. Because I didn't think they wanted to hear what I wanted to see out of life. I didn't want to do what they wanted to do, but I want to take the knowledge that they have to do what I want to do. And I think a lot of kids out there, they screaming for that. They screaming for us to show us some knowledge, but don't try to dictate how they're going to live their life. Right. Show me what you did. Go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry. I thought you had paused right there. Were you through, Art?
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, okay. I was gonna see what I was gonna see what Queen had. I thought you was through. My bad.
No, I agree with what he's saying. It does start with listening. And two, I feel like everything we're going through right now with the AI changing and the currency changing, and because when you grew up, our parents used to work a job 30 years and retire. But even watching my parents, I knew watching them that I wasn't finna work no job 30 years to retire. And that was my generation. I ain't doing that. Yeah. So this generation really ain't doing it. And they probably most likely couldn't do it if they wanted to, because the way jobs are now, the way they let people go, it's hard to even work a job for 30 years now. So you have to dig in and get authentic. If you want to compete with what's out there, you have to be yourself. And then with the parents, I'm hoping that the parents are trying to keep up with technology, because if you're not, you can't tell your kids nothing. They gonna look at you and ain't gonna listen to nothing you got to say. So the parents need to be still educating themselves. I know a lot of people are against AI, I know they don't want to go into the technology stuff. I know they don't want to think about crypto. I know they don't, but this is what our kids are doing. This is where they're going. And if we don't stay ahead of them or stay with them at the same pace, you're going to get left behind. And so no parent wants to feel like they dumb to their kid, and you can't tell them nothing else.
Yeah, I heard that. So I see, and I saw that Rice. I don't know if he's still out there listening, but made the comment said, don't say nothing to them. Just teach the ones that want to learn. Because we want to save all of them, but we can't. And if we save that one or that two, then maybe they'll listen to us. Seven, you got anything on what to say to someone that was saying all that I was saying? What do you say to a kid like that, or do you just say, "Yeah, he'll fuck around and find out"? What's up?
Well, I mean, I've told people like in Chicago, you hear that kind of shit a lot, man. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like too many people find value in money. Honestly, like I think we live in a world today where people think just because you have money, you smart. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where a lot of the problems come from. Like people listen to Elon Musk, some he's the smartest man in the world. That motherfucker kind of retarded, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't be thinking that people be thinking about any of this type of stuff, but for a child like that, I would definitely tell them, like, man, you could keep buying those Jordans, or you could be the type of person who invests in Nike. You know what I'm saying? You can really choose, because at the end of the day, you're gonna keep giving them money, you're not gonna get nothing in return. You need to be thinking about how many people buying those same Jordans and how can you get money off of that? You know what I'm saying? How can you monopolize that? You know what I'm saying? How can you benefit? You like a lot of people don't think about that. I remember I was telling my brothers and shit like that. Now my brothers be talking to me about investing in oil and all type of shit. And it's like, man, I'm happy that their mindsets have grown, because it's like, bro, we buying all this shit. Motherfuckers not invested in gas or anything. You know what I'm saying? You can invest in all this type of stuff, but you're spending your money in it. So it's like, damn, if I gotta buy it and a million other people are buying it, why am I not trying to invest in these companies? You know what I mean? So when it comes to talking to a child like that, that should be one of the first things you throw out. That's really gonna expand their horizons on thinking, because it's like, I done seen people stand out in line for days for new pair of Jordans, man. In Chicago, you see that shit. People standing out in snowstorms for that shit, man. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the times these kids be thinking like, if you don't got no money, to show them that you're not winning. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to really try to teach these kids different principles. Like I was saying before, teaching them is not really the money you want, because the money is just the middleman of what you're trying to get. Is other things that you want besides the money. But people don't teach their kids that type of stuff. Like people don't teach their kids about trust and none of that type of stuff. I mean, I didn't even know it. Like my mother was a teacher, and she didn't even teach me that type of shit. And she would teach me shit about in books. And I think that we really need to come to a conclusion as a culture that teaching our children the stuff that's in the books is really fucking them up too, honestly. You think sending your kids to school is making them smarter until you start to realize that they change these books every 6 years for a reason. You know what I mean? Like it's the reason why they change the information, and we really need to start diving deep and explaining that stuff to our children too. Because the knowledge that we got as kids, these kids nowadays not getting that kind of shit, man. They're getting some completely different shit, and it's stuff that our parents got, we didn't get. You know what I mean? And we really need to teach our children to look at all that, to have a full circle, circumference view of everything, because we're really giving them a narrow perspective on everything, and that's fucking them up even more.
All right. And I'm gonna go ahead, Shima, go ahead.
Something else too, like what the king down here was talking about, discipline. And that was one of the, and I'm bringing it, I'm talking on this to be real quick, because I have 3 kids. And so I started off from birth with them, teaching them discipline, teaching them how to see correctly, how, things like that. And so now my kids are in their 20s. And the things that my kids come back to me and tell me, for my boys, it's a lot of females. They make comments like, well, I've never had a man check me like that before. Or I never thought that way before. Or, and my daughter, they'll ask, well, I need to meet your mama. Or how did they, and I've had people ask me, how did you get your kids like that? So there is hope, like with us on this line right now, raising our kids a certain way. That's us sending our fruit into the world, right? And so when my kids come back and they tell me how they set somebody's mind free, how they influenced and directed someone to take another path, how they, helped other kids that were in situations. It was us teaching our kids how to think, teaching our kids how to problem solve with on a more, I don't know how to say it, on a more, I don't want to say professional, but a more honest, transparent, direct, authentic way to look past the lies. So to have, and I've had parents that have met my boys through their girlfriends. The girlfriend parent met my sons and I got to meet your mama.
Right.
I got to meet your mama.
Yeah.
And so that's, you guys, sending our fruit out there. We're making a difference already by pushing our kids out there. Because our kids, if they know how to be disciplined and they know how not to fall for the okie doke, and they know how to call somebody out on their stuff and say, no, that's not right. We're not going to do it that way. This is the best way to do it. Da, 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 da.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That makes an impact to the kids who won't talk to an adult, who won't. So putting our fruit out there and putting our discipline into the kids to help others along their way.
Right. Right. I got you on that. Let me get RV back, and then there he is.
Apologize, y'all.
Right. It's all
Again,
good.
missing all this good knowledge the Queen put
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, she's putting out some stuff, and I'm gonna just kind of piggyback a little bit, and I made a couple of notes. I like it when I believe it was Aubrey was talking about writing it down. When they're talking to you, writing it down, and they're like, "Well, damn, he's really listening, or she's really listening to us." So writing them down, writing it down, let them know that you're paying attention to them.
And that's biblical. Write your vision on the tablet. Make it plain. Put it in your face. And I love that, because when you put it in their face, and I say it all the time, you can't deny it. You can't lie about it. This is what's sitting in your heart. This is what you're looking at when you close your eyes. This is the things that you're doing that's keeping you from moving forward. When you put it on paper, it ain't going nowhere.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you this: when I got ready to start this podcast, I started putting it on paper at the end of 22 and launched it in 23. But that's just relating to putting it on paper. But I also want to talk about when Seven was talking about sports and stuff like that. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Tony Johnson with the House of Resources. And he used to always talk about changing their mindset, of kids. So letting them know about the 1% that's parents trying to get their kid into sports or whatever, but he trying to tell you, okay, look, let me teach you about investing. He would have people come in, they would teach them about investing, they would teach them about stocks, because he was on here one time and he said, well, you wear Nikes, just like Seven said, you buy gas from 7-Eleven or wherever, so own stock in it, to try to get, even if you can buy from Cash App, to buy $5 or $10 with it and let it sit there and invest that money. But we have to find out a way to reach these kids. And some of, even if we can save one or two of them here or there, but to get it on out there, I'm gonna yield back on that and see if somebody have a comment before I make something else about something.
I actually do, and I want to come back to the broken information I was getting from the Queen. One of the things that she said is something that I have put in practice ever since I become a father, years and years ago, and that is meeting the parents. When we talk about, helping these kids, it still comes back to the village. And you got kids out there that might not have parents that are concerned enough to meet other parents. But I'm gonna tell you, this is how I learned. When I saw other parents demanding that you need to meet the parents of the people you hanging out with, and saw how they was being treated, I wanted to have a part of that. And when I became a father, my kids, girls and boys, whoever you talking to, I need to know who the adult in that family is. We need to have a conversation so they understand my investment in my children is serious. And when you have like-minded parents that's talking like that, that keeps the kids grounded. And some people say, well, not all kids do that. I'm going to tell you from experience, kids that don't have that, they appreciate that. They want to come by your house. They want to hang out to something grounded, because now they can see a future, even though their lifestyle, their family situation is not giving them that. And when we talk about us as a people, We really need to get back to that. When I talk to my grandmother and I talk to my great aunts and stuff, they tell me about the great migration north when they went up north and they didn't know anybody and nobody wanted to talk to them. There was strength in numbers. So they got together, they took care of each other's kids. Kids knew the elders in the neighborhood because they talked. They
I
talk
ain't
and they
like that
talk
no
about the
more.
future. No, and that's the thing that we really got to get back. We got to get that foundation back because if we don't, no matter what we tell them about cryptocurrency, no matter what we tell them about how to be grounded and build themselves up, they're still going to be searching for something that they don't have. The kids are always going to look toward us, whether they like it or not. They tell us you're corny, your dance is corny, but they're paying attention to how you got to where you are. And if you can get a positive spin in them about how it's making your life and you want them to do even better than you, they're going to gravitate to you. There's a lot of kids, mostly in Louisiana, because in Chicago, some of them kids just, whew, that's another story to tell. But in Louisiana, when I go home, my nephews and nieces, they bring their friends over to talk to me because I'm kind of comical. And, you know, I can get street with them when they need it, but we're going to have that real conversation. How do we uplift? How do we move forward? And again, I'm talking to them with that pen and that pad. If you're talking to me, I'm taking it serious. And I'm going to show you. I'm not going to tell you I'm taking it serious. I'm going to write shit down and I'm going to bring it back to you. So you said you want to do this by the time you 26. Let's break it down. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but help me understand how you're going to do it. Because if there's a way you can do it and I can help you, I'm helping you, partner.
Okay. Anybody got any other feedback on that before I bring up something else right here? Because I like all of what's going on.
Man, hey, I want to say, man, when I was a kid, all the people who was hard on me, I hated the shit out of them people, bro. Honestly. But I wanted to see them meet their demise, bro. And as an adult, I got a high level of respect for motherfuckers who put me through shit, man. Because, you know, and they teach you a lot. And that's why I be saying the kids need to understand, bro. Like, a little bit of suffering go a long way. Motherfuckers was always upside my head as a kid, bro. I was silly. I used to do silly shit. I wasn't really a troublemaker. I just did a lot of goofy shit, you know what I'm saying? Just running around saying crazy shit. But the older men always kept their foot in my ass, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was hard on me. And I used to always be like, damn, they coming down on me. And man, I hate this shit. And then I really be thinking today, like, and just looking at society, honestly, all jokes aside, a lot of these kids, man, they soft. Society is soft. It's making everybody too in a fucking feelings. Everybody feelings matter. Like, when the fuck, when I was a kid, children feelings didn't fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think like a lot of that shit is making them soft. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't think that I wasn't heard, but I knew that when adults was talking, I had to get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? Now, kids is just so out of pocket. Like, man, I used to work in a mental institution, and these kids used to talk about how they be going their parents' medicine cabinet, taking their medicine and shit. When I was shorter, your parents would beat your ass, you touch their shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything today has been made so soft because people be scared of like, oh man, I don't want my kids to call the police on me. Man, fuck that. Hey, when I was
That was the gay agenda.
bro, yeah. When I was short, my mama said he on the phone, you can call them people. But guess what? I'm gonna beat your ass till they get here. And I'm like, oh shit. That shit sound horrible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? And my mama also told me shit like she loved me, but she also told me, you ever go to jail, I'm leaving your ass in there. And I'm like, oh shit. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got your mama, you ain't got nobody to talk to, fam. You know what I'm saying? That shit sounds terrifying. You know, and it's like nowadays you really don't do our kids any justice by being soft on them. Like, we really need to be more stern and be on them. Like, you know what I'm saying? At dinner time, kids didn't sit at the table with the adults. We had a kids table. The kids sat over there, they talked about kids shit. You know what I'm saying? The adults politicked on their shit. So it's like, man, I don't know what it is with today's society and how we treat these kids. Like, even when let kids have their own opinion about what the fuck their gender is wild to me.
That's
like,
crazy.
Like, you don't think that's a mental illness? You don't even know who the fuck you are yet. You talking about something, you a girl, you really a boy. Like, what does that have to do with anything, man? You know what I'm saying? Tell me what your purpose is in life before you gonna tell me what the fuck your gender is. Like, You got to figure out some other shit, and we really just being soft on these kids and letting them do whatever. The internet is taking on their lives. A lot of these parents need to let their kids not have no technology for a year. At least, look, check this out. The first 10 years don't have no fucking electronics, man. Unless it's maybe a video game. That's even bad because you don't even know who talking to your kids online through that shit. Right. The kids really need to not be in contact with society unless they going to school. And that's all kids. Usually, because kids gonna talk about what kids gonna talk about when they together. You know what I'm saying? Like our parents didn't think we knew about fucking when we were shorties. Motherfuckers was talking about all that shit when we was kids in school. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but we was watched so much, motherfuckers can do that. Nowadays, kids is fucking in libraries and shit. You don't know what the fuck is going on in the world. Yeah, it's just crazy, bro. I remember I listened to this little girl. She said her friend was sucking somebody's dick in the library. I'm like, man, y'all fucking in 4th grade, bro. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, y'all ain't know how to multiply yet. Nigga, y'all sucking dick. This shit crazy. Niggas don't even eat their vegetables and they talk about eating booty, bro. This shit getting crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Eating groceries.
Like, yeah. Oh, and before someone else come on, and I'm going to say this on that about the sex that they got going on in class. I know that for a fact from someone that told me that's a teacher that said, the girl was bragging about who all dick she sucked, but I just wanted to put that out there right quick that Arvie, I mean, you got anything on something Seven been saying? First, let me thank the guys. I see Elder and Mark and all y'all. Appreciate y'all tapping in and posting your comments. And you guys can see the comments. Shima, I don't know if you can see them on your phone, but I know Arvie and Seven can see the comments. So, but go ahead.
Okay. No, he right. These kids is wilding, but unfortunately, it wasn't anything we could really do about it with the LGBT alphabet community pushing all of that. And I had to say it, the CPS has a big problem. It's really boiled down to the government. You know what I'm saying? Pushing the Bibles out of school, pushing God, Christians, kids pushing. So now it's just wilding. They wilding. There ain't no rules to be a nice, kind person. There ain't no rules to not have sex before marriage. There ain't, because the schools ain't talking about it. They don't permit it. You ain't, that's gone. So now everybody wilding. And like he said, don't call CPS, woo, woo, woo. But I'm going to tell y'all this, a real quick story. I got married back in 2009. And the person I married, when I met him, his son was only 8 years old, a black boy. He had a case in court for truancy charges that he had in court for, I want to say, a good 8 months. But the court was not holding the mother responsible. Why does an 8-year-old boy have a court case? And so he was going through that, lying to his daddy. A few years later, he at school stomping people down with his shoes, like stomping them down. And then lying, telling his daddy he ain't do it. Well, finally, the school caught it on camera and he couldn't lie to his daddy no more, right? So me being transparent and honest and opening myself up to be approachable to him, he would come to me and tell me things that he would not tell either of his parents or his family. I don't know why. Maybe because they had that mindset of ignorant bliss of, oh, ain't nobody. Oh, take that to the chest. Oh, you don't need this. You don't need, oh, just keep, the mindset, that stuff. So he didn't feel comfortable enough to go to his own parents or his own family. So when he comes to me and he says, my mama not teaching me nothing, I knew what he was saying. What he was saying was, I don't have anything in my brain. I don't have nothing in my brain. My mama not teaching me nothing. I feel stupid like everybody. And I knew what he was saying because I was that kid at one point. So this one particular day, he decided to buck up because he didn't want to listen. Now, this boy at this time, he was probably 12 years old, but he was standing over me at maybe 6'2", 6'3" already, right? Big boy, talking mess. I knew that if I didn't do something with that boy, his parents wasn't going to do it. He was going to the penitentiary. I saw that. He was going to the penitentiary. Now, I knew I wasn't finna stay with his father because he couldn't do nothing with the ex-wife who was now staying in a hotel and didn't have nowhere for her kids to go. and your son got truant is got court case, da 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 da. So the choice was he talking all that smack like brother at the top said, I had to lay him out. I'm this short woman, you bigger than me. What you finna find out, because you ain't gonna try me as you get older. That ain't finna happen.
Mhm.
And so I tell you, it only took that one time. It took that one time. He never put his foot on another person. He never told another lie, came dishonest. He ended up going to college playing football for West Angeles College up in West Texas. Okay, they scouts was coming from everywhere trying to pick him up. Okay, so but had I not put my foot like in a real way, I caught a CPS case behind that because his mama didn't like it. I caught a CPS behind that case, but it was okay for
Right.
me because I knew the trajectory. I changed his life. Discipline. Every day he came home, he was studying a dictionary. I don't want to hear another rap word out your mouth. Tell me something else, right? So over time, his vocabulary, his articulation, his understanding. He didn't feel like there wasn't nothing up here no more.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So it was a lick I took with the CPS case, but it was worth it to see his life go a different way.
Right.
So you're right. They need their ass whipped.
Right. And that's what Elder just said. It was that there's discipline missing in the household today. I think Ari, did I catch you? Shima, there's a slight delay in your speech but we still hearing you, but there's a slight little bit of delay.
Okay.
I lost the rotation. Now see, that was right on point then. Was Arby or 7? I don't know where I was at. Were
Yeah,
you
I
going
want to speak on it. And again, the great thing about Wizzo Talk is that sometimes we're not going to agree on everything, but we're going in the right direction. So I say that to let people know I'm about to piss them off. And the way I'm going to piss them off is this. When we talk about technology and stuff, I understand that kids are just way too into technology too early, but I think they need to be because you go around the world, you go to Korea, them kids are learning at 3 years old how to code. And my alternative for that is don't let the kids just go on and learn without the parents knowing what they're doing. I'm all about staying up with technology, but don't let them be on Call of Duty and stuff. You don't know who they're talking or how to even get into the game. We need to be involved with that. So when it comes to them staying out, if you can keep them out of that, that's great. But if these kids show an inclination of getting into those games and stuff like that, you can't sit back and say, well, I don't understand it. You have to learn it. You have to be knowledgeable of it and have them teach you. Again, that communication's got to go both ways. And when it comes to what's in the schools, not sorry to say this, the Bible being in the school and the church thing, from where I grew up, that was a big problem because people were using that in the wrong way. I'm all for religion, I'm all for church, but when people think that that is the answer to everything, people that know how to be predators on kids use that and say, well, I'm using the Bible, I go to church all the time, and we have these problems where these kids are not going to open up to somebody because they don't want to hear somebody telling them about the Bible when somebody used the Bible to take advantage of it. So when we're talking about that, we got to have that balance right. And then when we talk about the LGBTQ plus community, we've had gays around since we've been around. That's not going to change. All this stuff about the Democrat identity to try to make people gay, they're not making people gay. People have been gay. I will give that they're trying to take advantage of the softness to try to make everybody else soft. Now, I'm not going to take that out of there because the Democrats especially, they take that flag and be like, oh, so we need everybody to win a trophy. That's bullshit. And if you talk to some people that are experienced life as somebody that's trans or gay, they'll tell you, I'm not trying to fucking get soft. I'm telling you that this is how I was created. This is how I'm wired. And I'm just trying to find my way through that, especially when it's a kid. I'm not saying, hey, let them live their life and identify themselves, but it's up to us to still treat them as a kid. I don't give a damn what you say. Okay, you're a boy and you like long hair and you want to have pink. I don't care. You're a kid. I'm going to take care of you as a kid. I'm going to treat you as a kid. When you get old enough and you make that decision as an adult, I'm going to respect that because I don't know what you're going through or how you wired, but I do know how to love and take care of you. And I do know if I shut this down because I don't agree with your lifestyle, you might get into some shit that you can't get out of. So when we're talking about the community, and again, no disrespect to everybody that said great things here, but from what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing back from kids that I talk to is that, hey, we feel like we can't come to y'all elders because if we don't see life the way you came up, you're like, fuck us. And we're like, fuck you. We're breaking down the communication. We got to be able to say, well, I don't really deal with that. I'm from the old school. That man is man to me. But if this is what you're doing to be a human, let me hear about it. Educate me on it. So
Right.
we got to be able to have that opening in the community. Because again, when I go back to the community and everybody's talking, everything's good, the first breakdown is when the adults say, well, I ain't doing that because I don't agree with this. And the kids are like, what the fuck? We didn't come from the 1900s, so we're not doing that either. And then you get that divide. With our community especially, we cannot allow that divide to happen because as soon as we have that divide come in, these soft Democrat liberals come in and say, hey, you shouldn't even be listening to your parents anyway. This is how you should do that. This is how you do. Be like us. Get your little puppy. And now they're lost. And that generation is going to teach another generation of being lost. We got to be able to bring them back in. And part of bringing them back in is not being rigid. We can't afford to be that dry-ass oak tree because when the wind comes, it's not going to bend. It's going to snap. We got to have some flexibility in there to tell them, hey, look, I see what you're saying there. This is not what I'm doing. But let me tell you what I can share with you. And let's see where we come into an intersection to move forward because you're my kid. You're my village. I love you. And what I want you to do is move forward positive in the world. I don't want you to get distracted by somebody that's just going to tell you yes because you think they're looking out for you, and actually they're using you to broaden their agenda.
Right. Gotcha. And before Seven say something, I'm gonna get Seven a chance to say something. I was reading the elders teaching the Bible should just come from the parents first. You know, they're talking about putting the Bible in school and the Ten
They need
Commandments
to.
and so forth and so on. So they're talking about doing a lot of that now. But what he's saying is that they should be teaching them at home because when someone at the school is teaching it, who's to know which way
Water
they're teaching
down.
it? Yeah. But let me go to Seven, and I think Seven had something he wanted to go and point out. Seven, you good?
Yeah, man, I feel like all children, you shouldn't have to like be rough with. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like there are children, like what she was saying, like stepson. You know what I'm saying? There are going to be some girls, there are going to be some boys who you definitely going to have to get physical with because they understand that some people are way more primitive than others, and that's all they can really understand. And that kind of do help build principle because at the end of the day, you didn't teach him not to hit nobody. What you did was you taught him how to understand how to deal with his emotions. And now he built a career off hitting motherfuckers for a living because he playing football. You know what I'm saying? So it just went in a different direction. But you know what I'm saying? Like some people mature differently than others. So some people you can just talk to. Like I told my daughter when she got to a certain age, I wasn't even gonna like spank her no more, none of that shit. Now we just gonna talk the situation out because now she's at a point where she can understand mentally what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying? But it's a certain point where children are primitive. You know what I'm saying? And they only understand what they can feel. They only understand what they can see. Not too much of what they hear. You gotta get a little aggressive with them. So I think people really gotta distinguish the two. Understand when the child has gotten to the mental level where you can't talk to them. And like Orby said, man, when it comes to certain things, we do have to be open to our children. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to my daughter about life, and then she told me she was binary, and I'm like, man, you're not no fucking computer. You know what I'm saying? You know, I thought that shit was funny.
What's that?
She didn't find that shit funny because she don't know what the fuck binary code is. But I'm explaining to her what binary code is because that's how the fuck she feels like she is in a sexual preference. And I'm like, you know, this is irony, but she didn't get it. And she was just like, Dad, I'm binary. I'm not male or female. And I'm like, that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to explain to her, like, your power is in being a woman. Being a woman is very powerful. Although society will teach you that being a woman is not as powerful as being a man, women are more powerful than men. You know what I'm saying? We all come from a woman. And truth be told, women didn't always need men to reproduce. People don't know history and people don't know science. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of these women go through this type of stuff when they're young because they don't even be understanding nothing. We not taught the right things. And when you start to teach your children the right things, they understand the power and who they are. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I taught my daughter, and now she understands that she's a young goddess and she should carry herself to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not none more that binary shit. Kids be lost, bro. I'm not about to let no kid tell me, like, this what I am. You don't even know yourself yet. I'm going to listen to you, though. I'm going to respect it. But it's my job to teach you, because how can you further yourself thinking like this? Is a lot of these kids are being pushed through an agenda and being taught this shit. They don't even feel like this. I remember when motherfuckers start coming out saying that they was gay, then everybody started saying they was gay. And everybody wasn't even gay. People was just doing it for the hype. Your kids are being brainwashed by other kids to think a certain type of way. Like, I had my friend, she told me her daughter came to her and told her she was gay. And she was like, why do you think you gay? She's like, I have a female friend that I like. She's like, well, do you want to kiss her? She's like, no. She said, do you want to do anything with her? She said, no. She said, well, you're not gay. You just love your friend. Like, motherfuckers don't even know. These are kids. They don't be knowing. So I'm not saying that we shoot them down, but I'm saying we need to help them even understand what the fuck they even talking about. Because some half the time they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with Orby, man. You gotta listen to these. You gotta listen to the kids, man. Listen to them, but help them understand themselves, because they still kids. A kid gonna be like, well, what do you know? We didn't grow up in the 1900s, like he said. But at the same time, motherfucker, I'm older than you because I lived long. I've experienced so much. You haven't experienced anything.
They don't care.
Right. They don't. But you got to start to understand to help them care, because if you don't, they're not going to live that long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a blessing to be the age I am and out of Chicago. Motherfuckers be dying at like 20. Not listening to the elders, not even knowing how to move in the community, fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? People don't even understand how much of a blessing it is just to even make it out of college being from Chicago, dog. Like, that shit crazy. Motherfuckers out there just killing each other for looking at the motherfucker's shoes the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And it's not like that everywhere you go. But it's like, man, people don't know how to think. And we really got to help them think better, because they're looking at stuff on TV, things that are given to them to make them think like this is how you're supposed to be thinking. A lot of these people think that they just supposed to be buying Jordans because other motherfuckers is doing it. They think that this is what it is. TV is telling them, hey, man, buy this. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, shit, the elders was buying fucking lottery tickets and shit heavy. You know what I'm saying? They thought that was what they was doing, smoking cigarettes, because they seen their elders doing it. You know what I'm saying? They, like, people mimicking shit and they don't have no idea what's really being passed down. And we need to break a lot of these cycles, and we need to break it down mentally for our children so they'll understand, like people when they come to the Bible, like a lot of this shit in church that these pastors be talking about don't even be about shit. You know what I'm saying? People really going to church to worship their pastors. They're not even thinking about the Bible for real. These pastors be having mixed perspectives of what be going on in the Bible and shit. Motherfuckers be listening, taking that shit outside the church, trying to teach other people this miscued mentality. And it's like, bro, we really need to start teaching ourselves and getting outside of the brainwashing from all different aspects. It ain't just the white man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of our people is fucked up in the brain just from passing that shit down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
You know what I
Let
mean?
me see who see if somebody else wanted to jump in right quick. I think
Yeah.
Tina wanted to jump in.
Yeah. So it's like, I call us the OGs, right? If you were born before 95, we the only ones who know the truth. So the truth meaning, yeah, there were always gay people around, but it wasn't rampant like it is now. It's like a pandemic.
Right.
And so we know, like I tell these young ones after 95, they don't know that everybody wasn't gay. They don't know that everybody wasn't like that. They don't know that. They only know what the government and everybody has pushed to make it this legal good thing that's okay for everybody. And so I babysitted this girl. Sometimes I put an ad on Facebook just to help mothers out. This girl brought her daughter to me dressed non-binary, gorgeous Mexican and black baby girl, beautiful. And she tells me, well, I don't think it's my place to tell her that she's a girl. I think I'd stay out of that. And she's supposed to figure that out on her own. And I had to explain to her, your first sign that your daughter's a girl is that she has a vagina. You know, your second sign that you have a girl, you know, I literally had to go over scripture with her a little bit. And she wasn't a Christian. She wasn't, but I had to let her know God created male and female. And once I broke that down to her, you know, she started, because she was going with the in crowd. She was going with what the government had said is okay, what everybody, this is how we roll. I've even had younger guys come to me and ask me if I've ever been with a woman. And I said, well, no. And they said, well, why not? I'm like, what you mean, why not? Well, because I'm not attracted to them. But one guy told me, you're the second woman I've ever met that has never been with a female. And I said, well, you might not remember this, but back in the day, we wasn't like that. We like men. And that's all before 95. Before, you know what I'm saying? We were different. So this culture, these generations today, they literally do not know. They think they grow up in a place where it's always been that way. It's always been accepted. And this is how we roll. But they do need God. They do need Jesus and not religion, because God is not a religion. Jesus Christ is not a religion. He's a person. And if you get to know who he is for real in the spirit, you won't have a problem deciphering what pastor is false and what pastor is not doing right. Because if you walking in God and you walking in the spirit, your spirit is going to tell you he not right. She not right. I don't want you serving there. I don't want your ties going there. But when you alone and there ain't no adult, who else you gonna talk to? And if you're not teaching these kids who they can talk to when ain't nobody else around, somebody's always around to fill that gap and tell them who they are or who they think they are. So you need to push them towards Christ, not religion, not church, because all churches don't carry the Spirit of God. All churches don't carry an anointing of God. They don't. That is where you pray and you let the Lord lead you to where he wants you to be, where he's going to grow you, where he's going to flourish you, where he's going to heal you, where he's going to deliver you. That's not going to come from the people at school and mankind and everybody, because it's an identity thing. Your identity comes from God. Your identity comes from Christ. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be planted somewhere that can be fostered and supported. And if you're in a foster care system, a CPS, a safe system, you're not getting that. You're not getting that. We have to make ourselves available conduits, available vessels to serve in whatever capacity God has called you to when it comes to these kids. Because he said anyone that harms these kids is better that a millstone be tied to his neck and he be dropped to the bottom of the sea. God don't play about his kids. So they need to be pointed back to God, because we can't be there every second, every moment. We can't.
All right, I'm gonna come to Arvy. I was about to get ready to run the collection plate around again, but let me see what OB, because I already know where he fixing to go. So I'm gonna let him go and turn it loose. Go ahead, OB.
Well, I'm gonna say this with compassion that there is an agenda out there to try to make people soft, but I'm gonna tell you from 1970 when I came on the planet, gays were out here, and if you do any kind of study all the way back to the beginning of time, gays have always been here. And the problem is, back then it wasn't accepted, but they were there. Even with good old Dr. Martin Luther King, the person that put everything together for him was an open gay, but they keep his story pushed out of history because gayness is not accepted by the OGs and stuff because that's what was taught to us. Now, when we talk about this gay stuff again, I'm not talking about the media because I'm independent. I don't give a shit about Democrat or Republican because both of them fucked up to me. But in my life history, from growing up with people that had to hide their identity for fear of being ridiculed, put out of church because they still love Christ and all that stuff, or killed, it was a matter of survival to keep that low. So a lot of people didn't get to see about it because it wasn't the norm. Now that it's the norm and these kids are opening up to all these feelings that they believe, some of them may be just jumping on the bandwagon, like Seven said, and they're going to allure because everything's all about pride and stuff. But there's some truth in there. There's a lot of people that grow up not like us. They want to fit in, but in their mind and their build, they can't. And I wish we had somebody that's actually gay that can talk on it, because I'm not gay. I can only speak about my experience with the gay community and what they do. And they are the ones that's crying out like, nobody wants to give a fuck about us. They keep talking about coming together, accepting and understanding. But if the kids say they're gay, they want to shoot them down and beat them over the head with the Bible. I've raised two girls that was trying to figure out life. They were young, and they told me, and these are my stepdaughters, hey, I think I like girls. And because they were kids, I said, you might like girls, but you're not even old enough to be talking about liking sex. So let's talk about why you think that. And they explained it to me, and I asked them, well, don't you find boys attractive? Well, I do, but I don't like them the same way. And I said, well, you're still growing. Your focus shouldn't be on what you're doing in sex. If you have a feeling for somebody, that's something we can explore later. But let's talk about being a kid. Let's talk about getting you to where you need to go to be an adult to make that decision. And when they became adults, they were gay. They lived their life and they enjoyed their life. But the most important thing was they had somebody that wasn't going to shame them and talk about them because they had this feeling from being a kid. Every person that I've talked to that felt like they were either transgender or gay and stuff, this wasn't something that came all of a sudden. This was something that they felt before, and they felt estranged because they felt most of the world was just going to not acknowledge them because it didn't fit in their agenda. And what's happening is it's making it easy for other people outside our community to say, your community don't care about you. Come over here. And when they go over there outside the community, it might be good, but sometimes it's going to be very bad. And it's because the community failed them. So when it comes to the LGBTQ community, I'm just going to put it out on Wizzo Talk. I'm 100% behind them because I don't like fucking bullies. I don't like people being forced into something that they in their heart don't feel like they are. Now, if they're having confusion, we'll talk about it and we'll talk to people and get you the help you can get. But if you're like that, you grew up like that, I'm going to accept you like that. And all I ask for you to do is be a good person. That's it. And when we talk about the church and stuff, I love the teachings of Jesus Christ, all the good stuff. But what I don't like is this hard line of, if you're not going the way that my pastor or my church or my God says you should go, then you condemned to hell. I don't accept that. I've been around the world. I've seen a lot of stuff. And I can tell you the one common factor that I've seen worldwide, languages or not, there are people that are open to listen, even though they don't see it that way. And there's people that will fucking kill you if you don't do it the way that they were taught. So I'm putting that out there, not to slam anybody, but sharing my experience of what's been going on in the world. Because there's a lot of gray areas. There's no black and white. There's a lot of gray areas. We need to be able to decipher that.
Yeah, I agree with some and I disagree with some. I see the perspective you're coming from. I don't believe all Christians and church people are that way towards gays. I know it's out there, but I haven't seen it that harshly when it comes to gay people or LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
But I
All
will
the alphabet.
say, and you'll read this in my book, you know, because growing up in domestic violence, you have to always go back to the person. And I ask all of my people that are in that community, when you made that decision, what was going on? Were you in a good place or were you in a bad place? And when you made that decision to turn that sexual preference, did you make it when you were in a bad place? Because you might want to take a second look at why you made that decision. And in my book, it was growing around with a lot of pimps and doughboys and all the things that I grew up around. I grew up not wanting to be a girl because I saw that they were always on the losing end of the stick. There was no good outcome for the woman. And I'm watching all of my aunts who come into grandmama house and all of them got a black eye. How all y'all got a black eye? I'm looking at, so, from my perspective, when I'm dealing with LGBTQs, first, I don't sugarcoat sin, and I'm not going to make a way for your sin. I don't make a way for anybody's sin, whether you lying, whether you done hopped and coveted some man's wife, whether you done blasphemed the name's Lord, whatever your thing is. You know what I'm saying? What I do know is what the words say. Now, people can argue, well, man wrote the Bible and this, that. Well, then you have to look at, are you walking in the flesh or are you walking in the spirit? Because there's a big difference between the two. So if I can't have my sins legalized and forgiven, and or not forgiven, but just God just overlooked that and we good, then I'll take it. But that has not been my experience with God. Now, that's not saying that an LGBT person can't believe in Jesus, can't this and that. But if you're saying you're living by that word and that book, and you're only taking pieces, I'll take that, but I ain't taking that. Or I'll take that, but I ain't taking that. So what you're saying is I'll take pieces of God, but I won't take all of you. And so, whether you struggling with getting off of weed or crack, or whether you struggling you got a problem with molesting kids, that's your thing, is molesting kids and messing with kids. Or maybe your thing is you get off on murdering people, causing, whatever trauma to people, and that's your thing. Everybody has their own sins, but I can't excuse it just because the government said it's okay. And you're saying I've always been this way, when I've known people who said that, but they were not all that way. They were influenced by other things that they were not mentioning. So when you come to me about the word of God, I'm going to tell you exactly what it says. And it says it's an abomination to him. And so for somebody to tell me I serve the Lord, but I'm living a lifestyle of LGBTQ, I have to call you a liar, because that is against his word. It's an abomination. And just like he can deliver somebody from drugs, just like he can deliver somebody who gets off on molesting kids, just like he can deliver. And I've seen testimonies of gay men posting on YouTube how God delivered them, how God turned their life around. And I found those kind of testimonies absolutely astounding, because I have never really seen a gay person who actually got delivered and actually lives a different lifestyle. Though they may still struggle with it, they have the understanding that there's something God requires of me if I want to go deeper in him, and I want to deliver and bring others out of it. So if you want to be gay and this and that, that's fine. But as a true Christian who follows that word, I understand all sins are held accountable. You don't get to pick and choose which one you want and which one you don't. Nobody should be condemning your sin. They should be walking with you through that walk until you get to a place where you can stand and be comfortable in your new identity. So that's kind of my perspective on that. But no pun intended.
All right, Ari, before you go, let me just say this. You just never know what you're gonna get on Wizzo Talk. I mean, we start here and we end up way over there somewhere, but all of it is just information. Arby said something about it one time. You're gonna learn something, and we may not always agree with one another, but we're gonna put it out there and we're gonna have that conversation. Even a tough conversation, especially when you get to talking about the Bible and LGBTQ. And I will say this. First thing, Arby, I think it's outstanding for your girls to come and ask you about that and have that conversation with you. I mean, for them to come up and even mention that or something like that. I believe you said your girls did that, or I know you said their stepdaughters, but they were still your girls come up and had that. And I know you said something to the fact that I wish we could have had someone on here of that community. And I always invite so many people, but then so many of them steer the other way because I'm working on a topic and about the LGBTQ, but some of them don't want to come on camera to talk about that, even though it's widespread. I've been told that part of their life, is personal. They don't want to share with it. I think the topic was going to be understanding the LGBTQ or something like that. I can't remember, but you already know when I come out with a topic, we may start there, but we're going to end somewhere else. And then Ari, before you go, I will say this: I work with a young lady, and she told me her kid is grown now, but she said she knew that he was gay when he was 5 or 6 years old, that she knew that he was, so and I've known people that shared with me that their daughter or their son experimented with it to try to see if it was something that was for them, and then later they found out that that wasn't something that they liked. They didn't like being with another guy. They wanted being with a girl. And I've heard women say, I'm strictly dickly, not me, but I'm just talking about they said that because I ain't strictly. I mean, I have one, but I'm just saying. So, but I just wanted to put that out there. And Rice, I appreciate your comments and sharing them on, and appreciate you sticking with us for a little while. But Harvey, let me turn it over to you because I think you may have had something to come in on if I didn't make you forget your point.
Okay, first of all, big shout out to Rice, man. He's saying a lot of good stuff out there, and what I like about him saying is that his view is his viewpoint. If he doesn't agree with the gay community or being gay, that's his personal view, but he's not pushing that on somebody else or condemning them because they have something in life that he doesn't understand or want to understand. I can appreciate that totally. But my whole thing is this, and maybe it's just because of the lifestyle I live. I come from a broken home. I come from violence. I actually seen pimps beat the shit out of women in the streets and was told, look the other way. So I know everything about that negative lifestyle. But what I have grown to in my 54.9 years on the planet is that love is love. And if you can give love without condemnation, that goes a lot further than giving a little carrot than beating the stick on it. So this is my point of view on everything. Whether you're Christian, whether you're Republican, Democrat, LGBTQ, I'm going to treat you the way you come to me. If you're a good person, I'm going to be good to you. If you come with that smoke, we're going to get down and get dirty. That's just how I live my life. I don't care about your title or how you see the world. As long as it's doing something good for you, do that. You want to go to church and walk with God, your God, because my experience has been a lot of people have a different version of this God. Do that and be a good person with it. If you are gay and you're proud to be gay and all the things that come with it, do that, but be a good person. Because when it comes to me, Orvie B. Baker Jr., and by the way, that's where Chocolate Buddha come in, and I'll try to get you to do a story on my Chocolate Buddha, but that's where that came from. I'm tired of trying to pick sides. I'm not going to pick sides. I'm going to live the life the way I see it, and the way people see it, I want them to live their truth. But just know this, everybody has their own truth, and your truth can't intersect and put down anybody else's truth because you haven't walked in their shoes. So when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, I'm very protective of them because they're the ones that get bullied the most, and it's easy to pick on them because they have things like far right politics and religion to tell them that they're wrong and they're evil. That's not my position in the world. My position in the world is I am a human, I'm a black human, and I care about people. And if anybody's being bullied, I'm gonna stand up for them. And if they're doing something bad, I'm gonna stand against them. That's it. That's the simple life that I have because that works for me. And again, when I go out and talk to people, what I found has been helpful for me is that I'm gonna have that ear, even if it kind of hurts that you're doing something that you do. I want to understand how it works for you, not for me, because I'm living my life. Tell me how it works for you, and then let's try to find an intersection of how we can coexist together.
All righty. Any other
Chocolate
thing?
Buddha.
Chocolate Buddha, yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that and cover that on that chocolate Buddha, cause I got my shirt on that hanging on the wall. I
Hey,
hadn't
and
worn it yet.
I appreciate that, brother. It's a lifestyle. People gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
surprised when they come out.
yeah. Most definitely. Rice, I do appreciate you tapping on in. So I believe on one of the other podcasts or whatever, or something, I brought up something about the LGBTQ plus, if I got all of them right. And saying something to the fact like, who are we to tell them who to love or who to love who? I mean, they like making whatever they do, or that's them. I've never had any type of problem or any type of issue with a person of the LGBTQ community. I know women that say they have a lot of gay friends. They like their gay friends better than some of their straight friends and stuff like that. I know some of the guys is gay, and I don't mind them coming around and we having a drink, cause not a single one of them had looked at me any type of way, or cause they just know. I invited a lady on the
So you
podcast.
think?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
well,
just
they hadn't
saying.
told me. So I invited
So
a
you
lady
think?
That
on
assuming.
the
That's that
podcast.
assuming.
I'm gonna come back to that. I invited a lady on the podcast here a while back, and she just said, and we didn't talk about it on the podcast. She was like, "Well, just so you know, I like women." I said, "Well, okay, just so you know, I like women too." So
Right.
but that was just that. And I missed what you were saying. You were saying, so I think that they had
Yeah.
right,
You said they haven't never looked at me like that. I said, so you think?
right.
Just
Well,
man,
and I say
Hey,
that.
you be looking good, King Paul.
hey, Wizzo. Now, this is something where me and the Queen gonna intersect on because they might not say anything to you,
Come on,
and
John.
they might find you attractive. And I'm just gonna put it out there. I've never made any qualms about the fact that I used to model in Germany. And guess what? When you out there, there's a lot of people out there that's gay. There's a lot of people that's gonna look at you in the way that you would normally look at a woman.
Right.
Some of them have even approached me. But here's the thing. This is where respect goes. Somebody approaches me and tell me they think I'm good looking, they want to hang out, and I tell them, hey, I appreciate that because that's going to help me get paid. But this is how I see life as me being a man and me liking a woman. And you liking a man, that's cool, but ain't nothing going to happen. And they give you their respect because you didn't jump on them and punch them in the mouth because they found you attractive. And here's the thing about my mindset. I think I look okay. And I don't care if it's a man or a woman. If you think I look okay, great. I agree with you. Now, what we're going to do after that depends on what I want to do, not what the other person want to do. So if there's a gay man that says, oh, you look good, okay, that's cool. But I'm looking at the woman over there. And if she say I look good, then we're going to have something. And I just want to add this because we keep missing out just how beautiful it is to have everybody in the world doing stuff. When I was in Tampa, Florida, this is before I started modeling, I'll go get my hair cut, and there was this dude, and I'm just put it out there, I was single at the time. There was this dude, when I come in the barbershop, he'd be like, I like a man in uniform. And it used to kind of get under my skin, but I was like, he just messed with me, just see if I'm act up, and the bros joking on me and stuff. But I never did anything. I would just laugh and be like, man, I ain't going that way. And one day I came in the barbershop and he said, hey, man, I can't never do nothing with you. You won't even look at me and stuff. So here, call this number. And I'm like, now why this dude give me, I'm not gay, dude. I accept your lifestyle, but this is my lifestyle. I called the number, and it's this nice lady, and she said, well, my friend told me about you, and I just want to meet up, maybe have a coffee and stuff. And when I tell you she was a 10, a dime, I was like, oh, shit.
Was she a
I'm talking
woman?
about myself. No, hey, 100% woman. And
Y'all the same.
what happened after that, when I came up in that barbershop again, I was like, yo, man, Where your friends at? Because he gave me the hookup.
Yeah.
Now, when I say the hookup, it's not for everybody. But for me, it's been a great experience. When I was in Germany, I got to see man, who was the artist that came there? Lauryn Hill and Crystal Waters. And there was this club that they were doing just exclusive show in there, and everybody was waiting, trying to get in and stuff. And I had a soldier that was gay. He was one of the dancers for them. And that joker saw me standing in line. I was like, man, you ain't gonna help your boy out? Oh, let him in. He get on my damn nerves, but let him in. And I was front stage.
Boom.
Front
All
stage.
right.
So I put that out there to say this. You can judge and be happy of being judged, but you might miss out on something. And I ain't trying to miss out on nothing because I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this planet, but I'm enjoy it while I'm here.
Let me go and reel us back in this last 15 minutes on one other thing right here. To talk about, since we were talking about, how can we empower kids of color to be successful? So I just want to ask y'all, what do y'all think about mentorship? Should any of these kids have mentors? And then how do you know, go about that process or whatever like that, and I will say that I have been a big brother to a kid before, and one of my football coaches recommended it for me, and I lost track of that kid after way whatever. But I just want to ask y'all about mentorship, and then after we speak on that, we're gonna go around the horn, and then we're gonna get ready to close out because I know Arby, you in a way different time zone, I think, than what we are. So, what do y'all think about mentorships? And Queen, Shima, let me let you go first. You think?
Well, it's very much needed. First of all, I mean, I'm an adult and I still get mentorship and coaching. So, with kids, like you said, the young lady at OC, those are the things that, my book is for, but those are the things I've taken steps, even reaching out to House of Casa here in Austin and Travis County area. Um, Also, Child Haven in Las Vegas, Nevada, reaching out to them, just looking for volunteer opportunities, not to do anything, but to just sit there because, like, I've been in and out of CPS as a child, my background. And so I know what goes on there. So just having someone like me or like you, just sitting in the facility where they walk by, because those workers don't pay you no attention. They get there to work and get off and go home. They thinking about something else. They ain't, and they little school systems they have in there, like it's no good. And so, finding a way to become a volunteer in these types of places, to where you can just be there, be available to talk to some of these kids. Because the case managers, I can tell you, like, I did my background check with House of Casa in Austin, Texas. And that same CPS case came up with my stepson. You know what I'm saying? But I look at how the people they have, the CPS system is messed up, period. Just start there. But for those who really know how to deal with kids of color, those who really know what they're looking at and how to talk to these kids or how to, deal with them, sometimes those doors are blocked, because, like, even with my case, it was in the country, bunch of old white people. They didn't care that he had a court case in court at 8, 9 years old, 10 to 13. They didn't care. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care that he was getting kicked out of school for stomping people down. And, they didn't care. They didn't care that he was living in a hotel. They didn't care. So when the CPS case came around, they took the stable home and tried to destabilize the stable home instead of trying to stabilize the kids from the other home. You know what I'm saying? So the adults that are watching this that have the opportunity, and I didn't have to wait on that. I have my own business helping communities live. So, I don't have to wait on the government, the county or the state, or to get into Child Haven or SAFE. I can do that myself with my own business. I have, access to kids. I'm a pediatric nurse. You know what I'm saying? I deal with kids all day long for years, but it's odd. Anyhow, the CPS system is not, our kids sleeping in office buildings. Didn't y'all see that all on the news the last 2 years? They in office buildings. So when you think they have a true identity, they don't. They don't have an identity. There's no one there to connect with them like that. So volunteering in those places, just offering, and that's one of the things I'm trying to push my book into. I'm trying to push my book into the CPS systems, the juvenile detention centers, all of these places. Because if those kids have my book and they're answering the questions and they're going through that workbook, they'll begin to identify their talents. They'll begin to see their skills. They'll begin to look at their hurts and verbalize what it was. They can work through that. They can work through those things when there ain't no counselor, there ain't no case manager, the cook don't care, the help, the janitorial, nobody cares. Nobody's coming for me. Okay. That's a big reason why that book is in the form of a workbook. So they have something to help them with their thinking and their emotions. But volunteering to mentor these kids who look up to you.
Right. And before Arvie go, I look forward to, like I said, to purchasing that book. It's in my Amazon cart right now, and the book that I'm currently reading, I'll probably be through it in about another week because I only read at work, don't read it at home. But and the fact that I remember you saying that it is also a workbook. But let me go over to Arvie and OB, see what you got there.
Hey, I just want to say, like you, I can't wait to get the book either. I got that link. Thank you so much, Queen. I will be ordering it tonight, as soon as I get off of here, because it's important and it ties into Wizzo, your question about mentorship. The best thing for our community and to help children of color to have a more successful future is to be able to actually reach out and connect them with a mentor. And I was just thinking about, somebody talked to me about wanting to write a book and, this is their passion and stuff. Think about how powerful it is when I say, hey, I know Miss Queen, she knows how to write books. She actually wrote a book. What? I got to connect. Go ahead, call her. You tell her Arvie sent you over there. That's how you make that lock in the community. If somebody likes art and they're saying, I do different kind of art. I don't want to do what they do in school. I have this vision. I'm like, okay, I know this brother named Seven. He makes t-shirts. He does all kind of graphic art. He got a business. Yeah, let me let you talk to him. Let's connect. That's more powerful than telling somebody, oh, get on the internet and pull up some stuff and good luck. And I'm here for you 100%. We got to be able to make those hard connections, even with you, Wizzo. And I tell people this all the time. Hey, you don't want to do the same thing everybody else doing. You feel like people are judging you, but you really have a passion to put something out on social media. Check out my boy Wizzo. But he got a podcast. Yeah, he don't give a fuck. He gonna put out what he want. He gonna put it out how he want, and you ain't got nothing but to accept it. And they like that. But when I can say I know him personally, let me connect you again. This is the community bond right here that we're missing. We can't hope that the school does it because they're not going to do it. We can't hope social media does it because they're going to send them to their own agenda. We have to do it. We have to be the protectors of we. We have to be the change agents for we. And the only way we can do that is listen to each other, understand that we're not going to agree on everything. And just because we don't agree on everything doesn't mean that we have a different mindset or a goal. Me and the Queen, we'll probably go round and round about some things all day. But at the end of the day, I got her back. And I believe she's got my back. And
I got your back, bro.
For a fact. And Wizzo, you know me about this. I'll put a hot one in them about the Queen. You ain't about to just get over on that. And my word's my bond. And that's how we build a
right?
That's how we build a community. Even though we can have a disagreement, that's what barbershop talk is all about. At the end of that agreement, we leave out that barbershop through the same door to the same community. And if we can get more people to come on the podcast and talk about that and understand, we're not here for you to have a united front and everybody think the same way. We're about bringing ideas together and see where we can intersect to move forward. Because if we can do that, we become a united front. And when we become a united front, we can't be touched. And it's important because that's how we help these kids have a more successful future. They got to be able to see all those angles coming together to bring them forward.
I
Vote
tell you
for me
this.
in 2028.
Yeah, I tell you this, Ob. When you mention that connect, man, I mean, through Wizzo Talk, it's been so many of us that made that connection. I mean, I can't even get the name and all of the people, and then they start following one another, and they following them this, and they buy merch, and they ordering this, and reaching out to them. I mean, and it's several ladies. At one point in time, it was so difficult for me to get ladies to come on Wizzo Talk. Shit, now I know about 8 of them, and I know Queen
We,
Sheba's
we,
ready,
we
just
got
ready
to
to
hear
come
from
on.
the women, man.
Yeah.
We got to.
Yeah, yeah. And I like getting the women on to getting their point of view and different things about that. And the topic may start here on Wizzo Talk, but like you said, we're going to go anywhere. And that's why I'm not interested in really being monetized, because if some of them come up in and say, Wizzo, we're going to give you $5,000 or $10,000, but you have to change this negative. Keep your money, player. Because Wizzo Talk going to be uncut and it's going to be unedited. And I'm going to play it like you said. So I don't give a damn about your monetization or whatever, something like that, or monetizing me or whatever.
And
Because I like for you to be able to come on here and say what you feel. But Arby, I asked you a long time ago, do we really have free speech? And I believe you said something, as long as you can handle the repercussions behind it. And so people will come on here and they'll say to a certain, now I'm not talking about getting too dang on explicit, but y'all know what I mean. But we come on here and I don't edit anything out. You know, I may create a short video, but I'm gonna let you come on here and speak it how you want to speak it. And I'm just gonna touch on when we was talking about mentorship. Uh, I went at the place that I went to here in Temple to talk to him where the troubled kids go. He did tell me that the NAACP and the Masonic Lodge comes down and talk to the kids once a week. You get all of the guys over into one room, talk with him and so forth and so on. He said something that the NAACP offers scholarships to him, and he explained to those kids. He has like a 99.9% success rate in graduating these kids, and he told them the only difference is you're not going to walk across that stage over there with the high school kids, but you don't walk across the stage, over here or whatever at this smaller venue. And they raise money to purchase caps and gowns, and because some of the kids' parents, they just don't or whatever. So I know this guy because he was my football coach, and I gave him my info. He knows to reach out to me. Kid comes close to graduation time, and that kid need a camp or need a gown or whatever. Some he know that he can reach out to me, and if I don't have it, I know the people that will make it happen, something like that. So that was just something that I wanted to put out there about mentorships. And I did reach out to one other lady that's a part of I don't know, one of the fraternities. I don't know. They do speak at like at the high school, but I was talking about trying to get her to see if they can come over here and get the ladies to come and talk to some of these girls, young ladies at the trouble school or whatever, something like that also. So she said they'll work on it or something, but I just don't want to forget them and leave them out.
So I'm sorry. You said talk to the young girls at the trouble school, the trouble school, the OC.
I just say trouble because I forgot OC shit. Yeah. But they
Broad
call it
uncut.
something else, but they don't call it
So
the OC here. They call it something else, but I can't remember. So I just said the trouble school where the kids been in trouble, been fighting. They send them over there, the trouble school.
okay. Well,
My country ass just say how it is. The trouble school.
are they is that something that you organizing or they're organizing, or what is that?
No, it is it's already been in existence for a while here in Temple. And I can get with you about it, offline or whatever, something like that. I mean, it's an actual
Yeah, I
school.
talked to the trouble girls.
Okay. Well, see, and they might need somebody to come over there because, like that one that came up in there earlier, I told you about. They came over there and started fighting on the very first day she was sent over there, and they had to call the cops. She may have needed someone like you to come up there and talk
Like
to her.
somebody who's got hands.
Exactly. But we don't need you catching another case. So let me
Girl, I can take down a 6'3".
Let me show you how to squabble.
Playing.
Let me go around the room for the closing comments. We've been going about 2 hours. So Shima, I'm gonna come to you with just anything closing that you like to say. and make sure you let people know at some point in time in there where to find your book at. So with that being said, go ahead and give us what you got.
Okay, yeah. Well, first, my book can be found. I put the link in the chat, futuremepro.com, but it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target. It's called What Future Me Told Past Me. So when I was that kid that nobody was coming for and nobody was talking to, and the adults would sit down, shut up, you ain't got no life. Now that I'm adult and I've worked through those issues, what would I say to that girl now when nobody was talking to me? And so that's my book, What Future Me Told Past Me. And that's where you can find it. And that's my website, so it has merch. But my leave away is the same. Try to have your ears open. Try to pay attention to the kids. Look for the signs. Kids give signs. You know, it could be acting out, showing aggression. It could be they're withdrawn and they just isolated and they don't talk much and they don't, or it could be they just always depressed. You know, there's always signs with these kids. So just, even if you got to Google some signs of kids who being abused, kids who are being exploited, there are kids around us being trafficked, even trafficked out of CPS systems. You know what I'm saying? Allie Carter, if you follow Allie Carter, she said Riverside County CPS trafficked the kids out of CPS. So keep your eyes open. Look at these kids, because if we not looking at them, ain't nobody coming for them.
Already. And Shima Rice just posted a comment. Great talk. Nice to meet you, Shima. That's one of the viewers. He's been on Wizzo Talk several times.
You too, Rice. Thank you.
All right, OB, what you got closing out?
Okay, I got a couple of things. We're talking about books. I'm gonna go ahead and share my book that's out. Don't Touch Me. Say no to sexual harassment. And just like the Queen's book, you can find on Amazon. You can find it in Target if you're shopping at Target. It's print by the man, and it's basically a book for parents to talk to their kids about sexual harassment and what they can do to defend it, to include self-defense. So I know the schools don't like, because they don't like violence, but I'm a 20-year Army veteran, so I am an arbiter of violence, and I know violence deter other violence. So I want our little kids, especially our little girls, to know it is your right to protect your body, which is your temple. Second thing I want to talk about is the Chocolate Buddha experience. I know I've been mentioning this a couple of times, and hopefully I'll be able to come on the website and explain a little more about it, because it's more than just a shirt or a brand. It's actually a way of life. So I look forward to try to collaborate with you and get that. And the last thing I want to say is, man, damn it, I love these conversations, because this is what we need in our community. Just the way that me and Queen Shima were going back and forth about our beliefs, we were actually doing mentorship. We were actually demonstrating to them that you can come from opposing views and still have love for one another. We need that in our community. So people, if you're watching this, please watch it again and share it with friends, because if we're looking at how to make it better in our community, watch Wizzo Talk for the example. Be able to come back with somebody and have an adult conversation, stay in your position without calling names, and have respect at the end. I got respect for all y'all. And again, man, I think this is a blessing that you're doing this. And I promise you, there's some people that's not showing their faces, but they're getting some knowledge from this. Like those two guys that's always coming on there, pro-Trumpers.
Yeah.
They watch it. And
Mark and Chris. Yeah. Hey, Arvin, before you go and before I go on and just close out here, mention the Survival Memorial one more time.
Okay. The survivor, let me just give a back drop on this so people can understand without taking too much time. My background is victim advocacy. I've been doing it for over 20 years with the military and outside the military. And there is a memorial, the first of its kind, permanent memorial dedicated to survivors of sexual violence. I'm doing a documentary on that because, number one, it's the first of its kind in the nation and nobody's reporting on it. And number two, people that are survivors need to understand there are people like me that still give a damn even after the event has happened. So I'm going to put that documentary out, not just to say, hey, I'm trying to make money, because like my brother Wizzo, I don't give a damn if I don't make a penny off of it, because it's a passion project, and I'm going to do something behind it. So I will try to post a sizzle reel so people can see that if I didn't send it to you yet, Wizzo. But I'm definitely doing that, and moving forward, the movies and documentaries that I'm going to make is going to be on stuff that I'm interested in and what I feel that can help our community. So thank you for letting me give that shout out.
Most definitely, anytime. And just like to remind the people, whether you're watching it now or maybe you're watching it later, it is absolutely free, 100% free to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe because you just never know what you're going to get here on Wizzo Talk. It's like a box of chocolates, as Forrest Gump always says. Great conversation as always. Guys, I appreciate y'all taking the time out, coming on. Queen Shima, Arvy has been a guest many times, and I will be reaching out to you guys plenty more times in 2025. So with that being said, ain't nobody mad but the devil. If we gonna get up out of here, this your boy Paul Wizzo. Holla at your boy.